Today I'm here at the London Stadium, home to West Ham United FC, as fans are set for a day of protest against the club's hierarchy, and this ground is just one of many reasons why. For years, West Ham fans have been calling for senior club members, mainly Chair David Sullivan and Vice-Chair Karren Brady, to step down from their roles. The duo have been in charge of the Hammers since 2010, overseeing the move from their spiritual, beloved home ground Upton Park to the London Stadium, a soulless ground made for athletics. As many West Ham fans see it, the move to this stadium killed this football club. The matchday experience here has been poor, along with the atmosphere, since West Ham took over the stadium. Fans are distanced from the pitch, it's very spacious and is a vast contrast to the intensity and intimacy of Upton Park. Ticket prices are high too, and there's even a beer garden in the middle of one of the stands, which is terrible when you compare it to what clubs like Tottenham have got at their new ground. Behind the goal, a big, intimidating single-tier stand. On the pitch, it's been just as disappointing here too. Despite the Conference League victory in 2023, a real high point for the club, the board has failed to build on from this, and West Ham now sit in 18th place at the time of recording in the Premier League, threatened by relegation. Protests against the club's hierarchy have included things like a sit-in against Newcastle just last week. The week before that, there was a boycott where around 20,000 people or so left their seats in the London Stadium empty. But today it's set to be their biggest piece of protest yet. Around 10,000 people are expected to gather here at Stratford Station. They're going to now march down the street to the London Stadium before handing a petition to the director's box, which has around 17 or so thousand signatures calling for Sullivan and Brady to resign. This could be a big day in the club's future. This could be a big day in the club's history. And as you can see, we've still got a while until this march commences. The police are here, but it's already very busy. Let's see what happens. Well, people are starting to gather now here outside of Stratford Station, and I'm joined by one of the people from the main group, Hammers United, who have led some of the protests in recent years, Andy. Andy, can you tell me a bit about why you're here today? What are some of the problems that the club are facing?
Well, the problems stem at the top, and they stem with David Sullivan and Karren Brady, in a nutshell. It's systemic, it runs right through the club. Everything that starts at the top filters right the way through, and it finishes up on the pitch. And typically Hammers United has never been about matters on the pitch. It's been about the way the club's run. But what you're starting to see now, you see more and more fans coming to realise the effects that those two are having on that club and how it does actually translate onto the pitch. And what we want to see is something that's actually realistic, is for both of them to take the decision to resign, step down from their executive roles, and then the other shareholders to do what's right and appoint some competent professionals to stand in and start running this club properly.
I know you speak about problems on the pitch. Is that sort of more the transfer side of things, money being spent in the wrong places?
Well, they can make the case that they've spent money, and there's no denying they have spent money, but no one can argue that they've spent it wisely. Right. You know, we've bought players that are completely unsuitable that we then sell on. I mean, I've lost count. I know it's in the 50s of how many strikers we've bought. I'm not aware of any club in the world that's done anything like that, and still we still can't field a striker. It's just ridiculous. For me, it's purely about the running of the club, and it's everything. It's transfer policies, it's fan engagement, it's absolutely everything. And I'd challenge anyone to point to anything that they've done that's actually right. Right in the interests of the supporters, right in the long-term interests of the club, right for what's on the pitch. There's nothing that I can see that those two have actually done from this club. And for me personally, the biggest bugbear is the move to Stratford. I've been going to the bowling ground since 1976, loved the place, that was our home. And for all the promises that were made and everything that was sold to us about why we should be going to the going to the London Stadium, the reality has been completely different. That intensity that we had at the bowling, right on top of the pitch, players didn't want to come and play there. Even if we weren't playing well, the players didn't want to turn up. We really were a 12th man. We're at a place now where we've got carpet covering up a running track. It's embarrassing. I mean, I'm up in the gods in the Bobby Moore up, but the roof was leaking on Sunday. Right. You know, the place is not wearing well. We've only been there for, 10 years or 9 years or whatever. It's not a football ground. It's not suitable for football. And that's down to those two. And they need to be accountable for it, and they're not.
In terms of moving forward, looking specifically at the stadium, I mean, a 99-year lease was signed by the club. Do you think it's about building a new ground, or is it just patchwork on this stadium?
Well, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of the lease agreement that they've got. I mean, I understand it was quite favourable to them. I think they're paying a couple of £1 million a year or something silly like that. Is it realistic? I mean, if they were going to build a new stadium, first they'd have to find somewhere. And if you look at the cost to rebuild or to build a stadium, look at what Tottenham paid, look what Arsenal paid, Everton. I don't know if that's realistic or not, to be perfectly honest. But they could start by making some improvements that's a little bit more than a red carpet and some beer shelves. That's negotiations, that's conversations that needs to be had at the FAB level. I don't believe that it's impossible to make it better than it is, only by dint of the fact that it's absolutely awful over there. So it's a really low bar to make some decent changes, but realistically, I'd love it if they were going to build a new stadium that's within a local area, but I can't see it.
Non-West Ham fans will point to that Conference League victory. Do you think it was a failure to build on that, which has led to poor performances?
Yeah, and it's not the first time it's happened. I mean, you can go back to the 85-86 season when we come third in the league. Very unlucky not to have won that, but we didn't really reinforce. We didn't build on that, and within a couple of years, we lost our two main strikers, Cotty and McAvenny. We went down in 89, and that seemed to be typically West Ham. But we've repeated that, and we've repeated it under this one. I mean, they came in and got rid of Zola, put in Avram Grant, we went straight down. Okay, so we come back up, we've had a succession of managers. I think we've had 4 in the last 18 months, and I'd say 50 odd strikers. Nothing's improved. We was told it was a world-class team in a world-class stadium. I'm yet to see it.
And finally, I mean, expected 9,000-10,000 people here today. Protests in the past have happened, and these two are still in charge. Why do you think the results of today's protest will be different?
Well, I'm not sure that they're going to be different in the sense that they're going to decide to quit at the end of today, but this is part of a bigger campaign. I mean, there's a hell of a lot that we're doing, and they're getting hit from all sides, and I can't understand their motivations. They're not short of a few quid. They're not doing it surely to take a salary out or anything. I mean, they could both step away and none of them are going to be financially impacted. And as I say, the call is for them to resign their executive roles. You know, Brady can still stay on and take a payday. Sullivan can still have his financial interests. That's different. That's realistic. They could do it, and the other 3 shareholders could apply a little bit of pressure and do the right thing. So at the end of the day, surely the other 3 shareholders stand to benefit if they've got 2 people in who are going to run the club properly. So, you know, everyone stands to gain from this. That is what I believe could be different about this, but it won't all hinge just on this protest. And this is not the end of it. You know, this is, we're not even midway through it. There's a long, long way to go. We know we're up for the fight with this. And at the end of the day, it's not just me who said that. There's a lot of people who have said this. If we don't win this fight, then we lose the club, and it really is as simple as that. And I know there's a lot of fans out there who are not. I mean, there's going to be more people on this march than are going to be in the stadium, right? And we'd like them all to be out here, but they must be people who don't quite get it just yet, or we remain to convince them about it. And I hope we convince more and more. But come the day they realise what this means, they will get behind it. And sooner or later, I honestly do believe it'll just be so uncomfortable for them. They'll have to take the decision that it's probably in their own best interests, as well as the club and as well as the fans, to take a step back.
Listen, these people, they've killed our football club. They've ripped the guts out of it. They've ripped the heart out of it. And they've ripped the soul out of it. And we've had enough. And we're going to walk down there in a minute, and we're going to take our club back. We're going to do it peaceful. We're going to do it within the law. But we're going to be loud, They're going to be proud, and we're going to show them whose Claret and Blue Army this is.
Well, as you can see, we're at the front of the march and the hearse is arriving with a coffin in there saying "Sold Our Soul." Those black balloons which we've seen at so many home and away games, West Ham fans releasing them as a symbol of the release of the club's soul. And I mean, you can see behind me thousands and thousands of people. Great noise.
There's thousands turned out, thousands. So there is thousands still care. There is thousands that could be bothered to get out of the pub. And next time we aim for even more. We've shown today that Brady hasn't destroyed this fan base. We've shown the world, not just Brady and Sullivan, that thousands do care.
We sold our soul for that shithole. We sold our soul for that shithole. We sold our soul for that shithole. We sold our soul for that shithole.
West Ham is for us, it's for the supporters. West Ham is for the community. West Ham is not for two individuals clinging on to power after years of failure.
Well, the protest march has now ended and fans are making their way into the stadium for this afternoon's game against Burnley. And I must say, I was really impressed with that from the organisation by Hammers United, so hats off to them. Lots of people in high-vis jackets, stewards leading the way. The fact that they had the coffin and hearse there, it was really well planned. And also the turnout, there was thousands and thousands of people. They kept on coming and coming, and I didn't know when that line was going to end. It went right down the hill, and it was an amazing sight to see, and hopefully a sight that will be seen by the club's hierarchy, and who knows, maybe some change will take place in the near future. It's such a shame to see the demise of a great, historic, top-tier English football club, and it will be interesting to see over the next few years whether West Ham United recover or fade and die.
Fortune's always hiding, I looked everywhere, I felt power in my